Assalamu alaikum students, welcome to Cambrian virtual classroom. Welcome to another English lesson. First let me introduce myself. I am SM Saifullah Shakil, Cambrian College, Chattogram from Department of English. Okay, without further ado, let's dive into our today's lesson. So what is our topic today? We will see a lesson, we will go through a lesson from Unit 15, Paths to Higher Education, and this is lesson number 3, 21st Century Higher Education. And what do we need, what skills do we need to cope with the demand of the century? Okay. Learning outcomes of the lesson. At the end of the lesson, students will be able to explain what critical thinking is, and students can share ideas about the demands of 21st century employers. Many educators believe that one of the functions of education today should be to impart 21st century skills. What does impart mean? Impart mean to pass on, convey, to reveal something. So many educators, onek shikhokera, onek shikkhabidera believe that one of the functions, there are many functions of education, but these days in the 21st century, one of the functions of education should be to pass on, to convey some skills that are indispensable. What does indispensable mean? That are necessary, essential, vital for participation, achievement and competitiveness in the global economy. To succeed in global these days economy, to gain something, to be successful in 21st century economy, we need some skills, and one of the functions of 21st century education is to provide us those skills. Beyond the assessment of reading, mathematics and science, it is now necessary to train other essential skills that are in demand in the 21st century. So what does assessment mean? Assessment mean evaluation, judgment. You know, the examination you are taking, those are for assessing your ability in a particular field. So those field can be where, how is your reading skill? You are evaluated whether you have a good reading skill through reading compositions or comprehensions, MCQ questions from passage, or in your English first paper text, you have to face some items, flowchart or information transfer. These are some evaluation tasks. So beyond this assessment of reading or mathematics and science, it is now necessary to train other essential skills. These are not the only skills that you need these days. You also need some essential skills that are in demand in 21st century, that employers demand in their employees. All people, not just an elite few, need 21st century skills. So not just a chosen few that are needed these skills, all people needed these skills, 21st century skills that will increase their ability, their capability, employability and readiness for citizenship. To be a good citizen, to be a productive citizen, you need some skills that can benefit both you and your country, your society and your family. And these skills will increase your chance to have a job. So what's the first skill? Thinking critically and making the best use of the barrage of information. What does thinking critically mean? Thinking critically means to think logically, to make some decision based on the knowledge you already have, not taking a decision out of spite, whimsically. You need to take decision through a process and through a logical process, and that logical thinking is stated here as critical thinking. So, thinking critically and making the best use of barrage of information. Barrage means actually embankment, you know. There is a slide for critical thinking. What do we need for critical thinking? First, accept that you may not always be right. You have to accept that to be a critical thinker. Use your mistakes to learn and grow. Then do your research. Don't just assume that what you know is right. You have to do your research, learn fact from fiction. Then collaborate with other critical thinkers. Collaborate or participate with other critical thinkers and try to hear them out, try to know what they are thinking. Expose yourself to new thoughts and ideas. Don't just be in your cocoon and use your knowledge only. You have to open your mind and invite others' opinions. Then question assumptions. You assume something, you should question that assumption. You have to make sure that your assumption has no flaw in it. Try thinking of alternative methods for the same task. You are given a task, you can accomplish that task in a certain way. Don't limit yourself to only that way. Think of how else you can do the same task, and then you have options, alternatives. You have the luxury to choose. Know your biases. What does bias mean? Bias means to make a decision and you have a weakness for the decision, you don't want to leave that solution. That is your bias. So know your biases, know your weakness and the effect they have on your objectivity. Think in reverse. Think in reverse means when you are come up with a solution, then go back to the problem first and find out if you can reach the problem through the solution. These are all critical thinking. So what does barrage mean? Barrage mean embankment, baad, that is used to stop water from overflowing. Okay, so barrage information mean lots of information. This is the age of information. Excuse me. This is called the age of information. There are lots of information around us. Okay, so you have to know how to use those information in your favor. Okay, barrage of information that comes their way every day on the web, in the media, in homes, workplaces and everywhere else. You are bombarded with lots of information on the web, on the internet, and in the media. You have many TV channels, you have many printed media, many newspapers, both online and offline. These are the source of many information. You have to be cautious that what information to choose, and you have access to information in your workplace and everywhere else. Critical thinking empowers people. What does empower mean? To allow, to permit, to enable, entitle. Critical thinking empowers people to assess the credibility. Credibility means reliability, validity, trustworthiness, believableness. Okay, so critical thinking empowers people, allows people to assess mean মূল্যায়ন করা, to assess the credibility, বিশ্বস্ততা, কোনো একটা তথ্য কতটা বিশ্বস্ত সেটা তুমি তখনই ডিসিশন নিতে পারবে when you are a critical thinker. Accuracy, you have to judge the accuracy of the information, whether it is true or false, and value of information and if the information is valuable to you, to your business, to your society, to your nation. And you also, critical thinking also allows you to analyze and evaluate information. You have to analyze the information. There are lots of information. You don't need all of the information. You have to analyze which information you need and make reasoned decision and take purposeful action. Critical thinking also allows you to make reasoned decision, logical decision using those information and take purposeful action. You have to take action based on your information, and those action should be purposeful. They should have give you a result. Okay, so what does all that mean? Let me take an example. These days you get many phone calls, you know, from many businesses. Many business call us in our cell phone and try to sell their product. Oftentimes you will find that you actually need the service of that particular business. Okay, suppose someone called you about an internet connection. কেউ একজন তোমাকে ফোন দিয়েছে একটা ইন্টারনেট কানেকশনের ব্যাপারে, যে আমরা একটা ইন্টারনেট কানেকশন নিয়ে এসেছি, আপনার কি কানেকশন দরকার আছে কিনা। And weirdly enough, you may think that you did a Google search a day or 2 days before, or you have a search on Facebook about a new internet service provider. So how the internet service provider know that you need a connection? Actually, when you did the search on Google or Facebook, they took that information and they know that you need a connection, and those ISP people can buy those information that in their service area how many people searched for internet service, and that's how they can get your number and call you. So this is how the information is used by the businesses. Okay, so when you are a business person, a businessman, you can also use the information in your favor, but you have to understand which information to use. Then another skill we need, solving complex multidisciplinary problems, complex problems, not the simple easy day-to-day problems we face every day. You have to understand, you have to know how to solve complex problems and multidisciplinary problem. What does discipline mean here? Here discipline means field of study, field of interest, area of interest, curriculum, branch of knowledge. Okay, so when you are studying, you may study English, you may study physics, chemistry, or accounting, and in your examination you actually solve problems related to your field of study. But when you are in a workplace, you have to solve different types of problems. Not all the problems would be related to accounting or English or mathematics. Multidisciplinary problems that all workers in every kind of workplace encounter. What does encounter mean? To face, experience. You will face many different kind of problems routinely, regularly, and you should have the capacity to solve all those problems. Excuse me. The challenges workers face don't come in a multiple choice format. So in your workplace you don't have problems and the problem don't give you some options and you have to choose one. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to make your option, and then you should choose which option is the best among those alternatives. That's why they are said not all problems come in a multiple choice format and typically don't have a single right answer. In a multiple choice question, there often or there must be a single right answer, but in your day-to-day life problem in your workplace, and those problems don't have only one right answer. You can solve in different ways, different employees may solve it in different ways. Nor can they be neatly categorized as math problems or English problem or physics problem. You suppose you are a student of mathematics and you find a problem in your office and you can't tell whether it is a math problem or a physics problem. You can't categorize. Okay? So, what do you do then? You can't only rely on your academic education. Or categorize mean to classify, for example, or passed off to someone at a higher pay grade. Suppose you can't categorize a problem and you think that I can't solve this problem. So, you may think, how about I take the problem and pass it on to onto my boss. Your boss may not like that. Your boss may think that you are inferior, you are not capable of solving these problems on your own. Businesses expect employees at all levels to identify problems, think through solutions and alternatives, and explore new options if their approaches don't work. So, businesses, the বিভিন্ন ব্যবসা প্রতিষ্ঠানগুলো expect, they need, they demand employees, তাদের কর্মচারীরা at all levels, সকল স্তরের কর্মচারীরা to identify problems. Businesses expect that their employees can identify different problems and think through solutions and alternatives, and they can think through, they can get idea about, they should have ideas how to solve that problems, and the businesses expect that the employees actually have alternative solution to one problem, and explore new options if their approaches don't work. So, identify mean find, pinpoint, spot. Explore mean to investigate, search, seek, try. And approach means method, mode, procedure, style, technique, way. So, if your way don't work, the businesses demand that you as an employee should have the power should have the capacity to explore new options. So, what is the process here? You have to first identify problem, then you should think through the solutions, you should think through alternatives, what the alternative solutions, and at last explore alternatives if your solution don't work. Often these problem solving work involves groups of people with different knowledge and skills. So, you are not alone in your workplace, you have a group, you have a team, and every team have people of different capability, okay? And their knowledge can be different, their skills can be different, but collectively they all add value to their organizations. So, when you are as a team, all the team members are valuable to you. Creativity and entrepreneurial thinking skills are always associated with job creation. Another skill for 21st century education is creativity. You have to be creative, and entrepreneurial, this is a hard one, entrepreneurial thinking skills. What does entrepreneur mean? Entrepreneur mean a person who starts a business, udyokta, organizer or founder. So, you have to think as an entrepreneur, okay? And this skill is needed to create new jobs, okay? You can't always think that you should have a job. You should make jobs for other people also. Many of the fastest growing jobs and emerging industries rely on workers' creative capacity and the ability to think unconventionally, produce astonishing work. So, what does emerge mean? Emerge mean to come out, to arise, appear, develop, okay? and unconventional mean unusual, atypical, unorthodox, not conventional, অপ্রচলিত. So many of the fastest growing jobs, অনেকগুলো খুব দ্রুত সম্প্রসারণশীল job marketplace and emerging industries, the industries that are just being started, and some industries that come out recently, is developing recently. They rely on workers' creative capacity. As they are new in the market, they should offer something different. Why else people choose them over an experienced organization? Because they have come up with some unconventional thoughts, some new ideas. Okay, so they rely on their workers' creativity, and you have to think unconventionally and produce astonishing work, surprising, amazing, astounding work. Okay, students should develop the ability to recognize and act on opportunities and the willingness to embrace risks. For example, so students should have developed their ability. What ability? They should recognize, they should identify and act on opportunities. Opportunity not always come. Okay, so when opportunity arrives, you should take it. Okay, you should act first. And the willingness to embrace risks. Sometimes you have to take risk. তোমাকে ঝুঁকিকে আলিঙ্গন করে নিতে হবে sometimes, and no risk, no gain. We know all. And then the skill we need, communicating and collaborating with teams of people across cultural, geographic and language boundaries. You should have the ability to communicate with people and collaborate with people. What does collaborate mean? Work together, cooperate, collude. Okay, you should have the capability to cooperate with teams of people across cultural, geographic and language boundaries. The people on your team may not from the similar cultural background, may not from the similar geographic area, they can be from another country, or their language can be different. Okay, and this is a necessity in diverse and multinational workplaces and communities. Your company may be a multinational company where people from different country are working together. So if you don't have the communicative skill, and if you are not a team player, you have little chance to get the job. So diverse mean different, distinct. Mutually beneficial relationships are important in achieving goals everywhere, not just in business. So we are focusing mainly on different business, but out beyond the businesses, you need mutually beneficial relationship. You need relationship with other people, and you can both have benefit from that relationship. You have some benefit, your partner should have some benefit, and these are important in achieving goals. If you to reach your goal, you need help from other people, and you also should help other people. Making innovative use of knowledge, information and opportunities which create new services, processes and products. So you should make innovative use of knowledge, innovative, new, okay, creative, inventive, new, ingenious. There are many information. It is up to you how you use them. You can use them in a totally new way that any other person think of. Okay, and you should use the opportunities which create new services. You can use those new services and processes and products. Suppose there is a startup in our country called Pathao, and internationally there is a service called Uber. Okay, so these are unconventional thought when they first arrived. So you as a person, you can also think of new services that people need, but they don't exist yet. The global marketplace rewards organizations that rapidly and routinely find better ways of doing things. The same thing can be done in different ways, but the global marketplace rewards those organizations, ওই সকল সংস্থাগুলো প্রতিষ্ঠানগুলোই এগিয়ে যায়, those rapidly and routinely যারা দ্রুত এবং নিয়মিত find better ways of doing things. They find a way that no one can do better. Okay, তারা একই কাজটা আরো ভালোভাবে করতে পারছে এমন পদ্ধতি যারা নিয়ে আসে তারাই দ্রুত এগিয়ে যেতে পারে। Companies want workers who can contribute to this environment. So companies need workers who can find better ways. These skills will prepare everyone to prepare for the challenges of the 21st century. The skills we have talked about in this session, these skills will help a student to face the challenges of the 21st century and contribute meaningfully to the country's development, and you can contribute to your country's progress. Okay, that's the end of the lesson. There is a homework for you. Please take a screenshot of the screen and try to solve the flowchart. That's all for today. I hope you have enjoyed the class. Goodbye. Assalamu alaikum.